You are now listening to a 302 Birds podcast experience, proudly powered by Tick Pick, Cutbet, El Diablo Burritos, Nick's Pizza, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street.
What's cracking with it, boys and girls? Welcome to another episode of 302 Birds, Season 6, Episode 6. Hard to believe we're this far into it. I'm joined tonight by my awesome group of hosts. We got Ashley, Air Jordan, and Haas on deck for you. Backstage, we have a lovely call-in, our boy Dominic calling into the show tonight, and a jam-packed show as always. But better days are ahead, my friends. Spring is in the air. By the time that you guys are listening to this show next week, I will be in Clearwater, Florida, supporting the boys. Looking forward to it. But how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great. Happy Wednesday.
Hump day.
Jack and Matt look like they're going to freaking cry over there in
I'm
their
sad.
Kelce jerseys. Yeah.
I'm really sad. Hey, hell of a ride. Hell of a fucking ride. That's all I got to say. Thank you, 6'2".
And we'll get into it in a little bit, so stay tuned. Don't worry. This whole show is going to be a big honor to Kelce. Shout out to Jack and Matt. And not only those guys, but I'll kick it to actually our weekly call-in for supporting the 6'2". Thank you, 6'2", all week. Jack and Matt, thank you guys for taking the time out of your week to throw on those Kelce jerseys. But let's kick it to our call.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is. Their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302 Birds sent you. God bless, go Birds.
I want to give a shout out to El Diablo Burritos. If you're in and around Delaware, please stop by your local El Diablo Burritos. Tonight's call we have is Dom. How you doing tonight, Dom?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. How you feeling about, everything? What's your question you got for tonight?
Who do you think the Phillies X factor is going to be this year?
Matt, go ahead.
I think the X factor this year is a healthy Bryce Harper. If he can stay healthy all year round, his production in the middle of that lineup at the number 3 spot, I think is going to be absolutely huge for this team. The past 2-3 seasons we've had Harper getting injured halfway through the season and just not having, a full season from him playing 80 games or so. I think hopefully, he's really holding down that first base spot. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do. And hopefully he can stay healthy and play 140, 150 games this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Trey Turner. I think we started to see him really mesh with the team at nearing the end of last season. And I'm really excited to see what he is going to do this season. Now that he knows our system, he knows the team. And I'm just hoping he continues to gel and become that it factor that we need. Who do you think it's going to be, Dom?
I think it's going to be a pitcher like Aaron Nola.
Nola himself or just...
Yeah, I think Aaron Nola himself.
Fair point. Honestly, I'm thinking about Philly Rob, just a matter of making sure that he, has the right players on the field for every game. Like Matt said, everyone stays healthy because, we've been plagued with injuries the past 2 seasons. So I think Philly Rob making the smart decisions and, us staying healthy as a team for sure.
You know who mine is? I've been waiting to do it all week for this show. Rojas! It's Rojas, baby. I've been loving watching this guy play. He had the energy last year in the debut. I would love to see him break out and kind of earn his spot on this team. I guess, is he our center field? Like, I'm an amateur baseball fan, so I apologize. Is he our center fielder? He's an outfielder of some sort, right? Yeah, so let B-Harp go hang out on the bag on first base. Old man, it sounds like he's going to be hanging out there. Let some of the faster, younger guys do some of the work in the outfield. This could be the year for the Phillies. I think that you just need that key guy, whoever it's going to be. Like we said, there were a lot of great players named, but whoever it's going to be, it's got to be somebody that steps up because it can't just be the Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber show. What's going on, Conrad, Joseph? Happy Wednesday, my man. Glad to see you here. Let us know in the chat if you have any questions. But Dom, I want to thank you for joining us again. And as always, man, we'll get you back on here soon. And thanks for rocking the jersey too, dude. If you had anything to say to Jason Kelce, if you could shake his hand and thank him, what would you say?
I would just say thank you for the Super Bowl.
Damn straight, dude. You always get to the point. That's why I love having you on this show. You give the best answers. That's all that you got to say to the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think – how did you feel? I got one more question for you too because I'm thinking about it. The whole Carson Wentz, Nick Foles saga, do you think that, like, him and Carson are like that or no? You think, like – because I didn't hear – did anybody hear Carson in the thank you speech? But then Carson writing him a thank you post.
No, he did mention about, the Rams game where he got injured. He did mention him briefly, but it was mainly Nick Foles, Zach Ertz, so Shady McCoy. So, yeah, he did give a shout-out to him for sure.
Well, that's good to hear. But if you had to say if there was one thing about Kelce that was your favorite memory, do you have one too? That's going to be the question that we asked our boy Dake on here too.
Favorite memory?
Favorite Kelce memory?
I don't know. Just any of his highlights where he runs down the field, makes big blocks. I love it.
You like the pancakes, the bear on wheels, as we like to say.
Yep.
I love it. Well, hey, man, thank you for joining us as always. We'll get you back on here soon. Go Birds, go Phils.
Go Birds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one,
care.
Dom.
Have a good one, Dom.
And now we'll move along. He's not here tonight. He's busy doing your taxes, making sure you save money. But let's kick it to the ballpark. Time for Phillies talk with Ballpark Tommy. Finger stitch.
I'll say thank you to Nick's Pizza because Nick's Pizza is really fucking good and they're the sponsor for Ballpark Tommy. But it sounded like you were about to take that away, but I just remember the shout out Nick's because I wish I had Nick's Pizza up here in New York.
Are you feeling the same way? No, thank you. That was perfect. I love how you said that. Thank you to Nick's Pizza, and thanks for reminding us to do that. Are you feeling the same way, that same love and affection for Nick's Pizza that you have, that I know you love it, that you have for Zack Wheeler and this new deal?
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. This is fantastic for the Phillies here. Getting another 3 years of a guy that's in his prime. Zack Wheeler has been nothing but an ace for us. And every season he continues to show why he's worth the money that he is. Playoffs, he has, I think, the best like FWAR in all of baseball history. It's even better than, I'm blanking of not Robinson Cano, the guy on the Yankees who's a legendary closer. I'm blanking on his name right now. It'll come back to me, but
Cabrera?
his stats,
Miguel? No, not Cabrera. Okay.
I'm trying to. I forget his name.
Doesn't matter. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. Anyways, his stats are out of this world, and he continuously proves why he is the best pitcher in baseball. And I think this extension is exactly what he needed, exactly what the team needed. And I think he's really going to come out and he's going to prove to us that he deserved that $126 million. It is a lot of money to be paying someone, but he deserves every single bit of it.
They're making it rain. That's what they're trying to do this year, right? They know that it's their year, in my opinion. They know that the clock is ticking to bring a championship to this city. This city's craving it, man. This city's hungry. Don't you guys want it? Don't you guys feel it? It's been such a long time since we've had that feeling. And there's a lot of players out there that I think that the Phillies could spend the money and they didn't. They need to just put it all together, because I thought about it today when I was watching Sports Center. The Dodgers are looking freaking scary. Like, I just really realized when I saw them all in a uniform, all in a team, you know what I mean, in the huddle, I'm like, shit, like, wow. Like, Freddie Freeman's still there, and he's like their like fourth or fifth best player. Like, that's nuts. They are just stacked this year. So they're going to have to be able to beat the top dog, you know what I mean, in that fight. And I'm really worried about it. But unfortunately, all my worry, I think that the Phillies have the best chance out of all the Philly sports teams right now. Like, I've been thinking about it, stewing on it after we did the podcast with Birdman Matt. Check that out if you guys haven't. The first ever 302 Birds Unlimited episode. It was a ton of fun. Shout out to Matt for joining me on that, and Birdman. But more importantly, I do think that the Phillies have the best chance. We're due. So I like that they're investing in their players, Wheeler. The guys that have brought them to this point so far. Now comes the hard part of the deal, which is where the player has all the pressure and has to go fulfill his part. But I really just want that championship so bad, and I have a good feeling about this year for the Phillies, guys. I know we say it every year, but I was watching 94 WIP, and when do I ever get this passionate about the Phillies, guys? Seriously. But
Never.
yeah, for real. But I think it was Joe Giglio said they're talking about the championship all year. Last year, they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. It was game by game. We'll get there when we get there. I didn't like that much. This year, they're talking about it. This is the goal. This is how we're going to get there. And I'm not saying taking it game by game is a bad thing. I'm just saying don't freaking lose that end goal. There's a reason that John Middleton went into the locker room and said, it's time for our effing championship. So it's go time, baby. It's go time.
Yeah, and I feel like from top to bottom with this team, it is built to be a championship team. The Dodgers, yes, they are too, but they have yet to prove that they're a championship team. I mean, for years, they've had all of these stars, and they can't get past the divisional round in the playoffs.
Like the Sixers.
They're like the Sixers. They are the Sixers of the MLB. They are. I swear to God, they are. And so, the Phillies, they want it. And I think, getting to where they did last year and just completely folding. Last year, they were the best team in the playoffs at that point. They deserved to win that World Series last year, and they blew up. The year before, they made it to the World Series. They have a better team this year than they had the past 2 years, whether it be pitching, whether it be defense, offense. I think this year they are built to go all the way, and we have ownership that's going to want to do that. Halfway through the season, they're going to do another report card. They're going to say, what do we need? And I believe John Middleton is going to be like, let's go get this fucking World Series. And I think that's the mindset, exactly like you said, Dalt.
Can me and Matt go suit up for the team? Because I think that we should just be the unofficial hype men, strength coach or something, and just go in there and be just scream in their face. They'll probably just
smacking their chests.
Annoying kid out of here. You know what I mean? One time it works. Look out, Clearwater. I'm going to be screaming in the dugout with KJ. Me, 2 vodka cranberries deep. That's a pitcher's nightmare. I'll just leave it at that. Moving along now to the Sixers. I don't think anybody else has anything to say about the Phillies, correct?
Nope.
No.
Cool. Moving along to the Sixers. I got a couple bets down tonight. I don't know if you guys do, but taking on the Grizzlies at home, I think that they were a 5.5 point favorite the last time I checked. It's not looking very good. Maxi's in concussion protocol, play-in bracket. We don't want to be in the play-in. We would like to just focus, stay in the playoffs, ride that wave. You want to give Embiid as a player the confidence as a team that hey, we're ready for you to come back. It's not going to be just you doing all the work. We're ready for you as a team. They have been hot and cold and hot and cold. And Tobias Harris, talking to you, man, you got to step it up. You know how to. You've been in this city long enough. You've been in this city since my sophomore year of college. Dude, I'm 25 years old now. You've been here for a long-ass time. Let's get it together. Lead this team, because if you guys can get old Mo in the building, momentum going, you're going to be rolling into the playoffs when your star players come in. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise is all I'll say. Maybe this is a wake-up call for some of those players that are dragging ass, hey, get your shit together. That's my opinion.
I mean, the headline, we're at risk of making the play-in bracket. We're at risk of making the play-in bracket to get in the playoffs. This team is crumbling. They don't know what is going on. We're screwed that Maxi's out with a concussion. We thought beginning of the season that this Sixers team is going to be night and day difference from last year with Nick Nurse being the head coach. But okay, Embiid has been playing well. Now he's injured, so we can't really do much with him. Maxey being out, we have no cushion for this team at all. And it's really scary because we thought so highly of them beginning of the season with Nick Nurse, new hire, new signings for players. I mean, we folded in the, mid-season trade deadline. We screwed that up. I don't know what we were thinking as a team or as a group, but we didn't help ourselves out at all with, making it far deep into the playoffs. So it's really scary that this Sixers team is at risk to make it into the play-in bracket. That is something that you guys should not take with a grain of salt because that's horrible.
It's so bad. But like, we also got to look at it this way. Looking at just the playoffs as it is, we're only a half game back of the 4th seed. The East is really tight right now. I think it looks worse on paper than it actually is. I mean, the Sixers are definitely worse watching than they are on paper as well. But I think where we are in the standings, it definitely looks worse than it is. Embiid is going to be back, I think, within the next couple of weeks. He's practicing on the floor. He's not 100%, but he's getting there. He finally talked to the press last week, and he seemed pretty confident that he was going to be playing basketball pretty soon. And I really think that, when he's back on the floor, this is going to look like the team that we saw earlier in the year. But right now it does look ugly. And I'm concerned that if he doesn't come back, we're probably not going to make the fucking playoffs. Which is sad because this was the team to do it. Embiid's in his prime. Maxi's, he's destroying the league. And now we have Buddy Hield, and Tobias Harris is actually stepping up for once in his life over the past week or so. We just gotta hope he comes back healthy, and that's going to be huge if he does.
I think it's just important to note too, last week we were saying that the one bright spot on this team was Maxey. And here we are, and we don't know how long he's going to be out. And it is now up to the rest of the team. And that is terrifying that we're leading up, or that we are leaving this to a team of guys that is not playing like a team most of the time. And we are losing games that we should be winning. Tonight is a prime example of a game that we should win. Right now we are winning. But I am worried. I know I said earlier in the season that I would believe success when I saw it. And so far I'm not thinking that this is going to go very well here if Maxey and Embiid don't come back soon playing well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think with the recent success, what the Sixers, if they do win this game, I think they've won 3 of their last 4 or something like that. A lot of the success is Tobias Harris actually stepping up. You can't win games with your max contract guy not putting up more points than the people coming off your bench. And right now, with Maxey on the sideline, Tobias Harris is finally stepping up. And this all happened after, Harris had that hour-long conversation with Harris. Or Harris had it. I mean, I hope he has conversations with himself.
What was that?
An hour-long conversation with Embiid. That happened last week, and apparently Embiid kind of laid into him, just being like, what the hell's wrong with you? And it resonated with him, and now he's actually playing basketball that we need him to be playing. And ever since that conversation, the Sixers have won 3 of 4. So Embiid is making an impact on and off the court. So, keep it up. Come back, Embiid, Maxey, come back healthy, and let's strap up for a playoff run.
Yeah, like Matt said, Harris should speak to Harris. Like, look yourself in the mirror. What can I do right? What can I change myself, my gameplay, so we can be successful before Embiid comes back? That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we covered it all, like you guys said. So hopefully the Sixers hear us and listen to the podcast, get their shit together. We'll find out. But moving along in the show now, is it due for trivia now? Yes, it is. So without further ado, sorry, I had to check the schedule, guys, but I'm going to kick it to the mayor himself.
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dordan, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship, and you can thank TickPick for sending Dalton to Clearwater to watch the game. Get your tickets on TickPick. Well, tonight's question we have on the topic of Phillies. What Phillies first baseman had 3 consecutive 20 home run seasons between 97 and 99? What Phillies first baseman had 3 consecutive 20 home run seasons between 97 and 99? A, Kevin Jordan, B, Travis Lee, C, Rico Brogna, or D, Chase Utley?
Definitely sounds like Chase Utley.
100%.
Exactly. It's totally Chase Utley. So that's the
I
answer.
feel like you guys are strolling with me.
Without we'll give you the answer at the end of the show. Dalton, stay tuned. Maybe it's Chase Utley. I don't know.
I'm not gonna. I feel like I have a 1 in 3 shot of taking the 3 other answers. I just don't think it's Chase Utley for some reason. But that's my opinion.
It
Pick
is.
Chase Utley, man. If you pick,
I will
take your goddamn reins away from this show so quick. If you pick
Hey,
Chase
I can't
Utley.
be anything with this podcast than any kind of Phillies content. No Phillies jersey. I get it. I did submit my answer. I texted you, Jack, so maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. We'll let you guys know later in the show. Stick around for that.
Let me text you now, Jack.
Moving along into the show, I mean, Jack and Matt have both been honoring him. It's been the news of the week. Jason Kelce announces his retirement officially. And we bring in a special guest, a guy who could retire in a couple of years. Our good friend, the boy. Let's give a round of applause for the date coming back on the show.
Yeah,
How you doing,
what's
Dave?
up?
Welcome back.
What's up? Why are you gonna do that? You guys gonna put me on the spot with Kelce? I think I texted you and Matt that I'm crying in my office, literally like a little girl yesterday. I was fine, and then he started crying. Like, what is he like? How much does he weigh? Like almost 325 pounds or something like that?
No, 295.
Okay, I
Damn,
beefed him
Dave,
up
you're
a
giving him a couple extra pounds, man.
Like,
Lay
that
off.
was crazy, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because of the Super Bowl run last year and then their podcast with his brother. Because I've been following Kelce since he got drafted. But I think that Super Bowl run and that loss and then him retiring after the last season, man, it just hurt. It hurt a certain way. I didn't know it was weird. But
Yeah.
if you saw, did you guys watch the news this morning? Where did him and his brother go last night? The Cavaliers game.
And they recommend.
He got like 18 gifts.
Yeah.
They gave him bobbleheads and things like that. Yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely sad because we grew up watching Jason Kelce and Kelly Green. So seeing him, like, that's the end of like, wow, like, holy shit, like, we're getting old and we're still young. All these players that we've like grew up watching, like Tom Brady, all these players are getting old. And I mean, he's a Philly legend. I mean, if it didn't give you chills with his speech at the parade, like, that spoke volumes to me. And seeing him within the first 30 seconds of that speech yesterday crying, that tells you how much he's dedicated to the city, how much he loves the Philadelphia Eagles organization, and how much he would do anything for them. And just seeing that, it's gonna be weird. I'm gonna be looking for Jason Kelce on the field every game next year, and then I'm not gonna see him.
But how humble is he?
He's
Kind of
super
a Connor
humble.
Barwin
I
kind
know,
of
like
dude,
he'll
right?
sign autographs. He's like grandpa's. Like everybody. I think someone said what are the top 3 centers in the NFL? I'm saying all time by far.
Yeah.
All time, agreed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He single-handedly was one of the reasons him and Nick Foles locked in that game. He had such a great, and like, whatever you say about his performance, he's undersized and he's dominating, but he's just so smart and he sees so ahead. Like, he probably helped conduct that game with Nick Foles so much. So yeah, we owe this guy so much, not only on the field, but off the field. And that was why, like, I don't know for you guys if there was a moment that you guys like teared up, but for me, it was when his agent and him were talking about it. And his agent said when he got drafted, he said, Jason, you don't understand, man. This is going to be perfect. This is your city. This city's built for you, man. And in that moment, I don't think Jason Kelce understood. I don't think we understood. Andrew Scott knowing the legend, the Dink. But in all seriousness, nobody knew how impactful Jason Kelce was going to be in Philadelphia. Or we wouldn't have fucking spelled his name wrong when we drafted him on Twitter.
You remember that? I forgot all about that.
I don't remember it. I see it resurface and stuff, but it's true. So it's just cool to see how it panned out. And personally, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, me personally, he was definitely not my favorite Eagle of all time before he went through that season where the entire city of Philadelphia was calling for his head. Before that, my favorite Eagle was LaShawn McCoy. And then Kelce had that season where the entire city was just like, get the fuck out of Philly, like, get out. And, we would trade you for anything. And he came back and he became the best center in NFL history. And like, ever since that year, I've just been like, that is the kind of person I want to be able to look up to every single day and like model my life after. And then, the documentary that comes out that even farther proves how good of a person he is off the field. It's just like, I'm happy that I can say that Jason Kelce is like my favorite NFL player of all time. He's just that good of a player and that good of a person.
Yeah. I really started to get emotional when he was talking about Kylie and just the way that they have composed themselves through just what has been a chaotic several years for him. And I love how he's been able to turn so much of this fame that he has into into success that we never would have imagined. He's been integral with the Eagles Autism Challenge, integral in all these other different fundraising things that sometimes we don't even know about until after the fact. The podcast, which has been a way that so many people who didn't know about football were able to learn about football in an approachable way. Ask no dumb questions, right? That was something that a lot of people really gravitated towards. And I just think about the impact that he's had off the field and on the field. I mean, we absolutely can thank him for our Super Bowl run. No question about that. He is a player of a generation, and it has been an honor for us to have him on our team.
He's the definition of the underdog, man.
Did you hear what Shady said about him too on on Fox News or what is it, FS1, whatever he is, McCoy? How even halftime they said Kelce was always there with all the coaches, game changing, what they need to do, what they need to fix, how they need to fix. They said Kelce was always in the conversation every time. And then another thing I want to bring on is on the podcast, they said, I think it was NFL retirement speeches that an NFL player for the first time talked about another man's genitals. He said it was the very first time he said today. He said in football history, no one's ever talked about another man's genitals in a retirement speech. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And the fact
never
that
happen
he
again.
said that, the fact that I was just like, what'd you say? I went from crying to like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
I'm in my office too. I'm like, what?
Oh, go ahead, Doug.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I wasn't expecting the cry, and then literally like when he started crying, I was just like, "Ah, fuck!" I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing too was it wasn't all negative day, right?
No.
Jason Kelce's going to be back in some sort of aspect. Jeffrey Lurie's going to give him a job. He always, that line, "I've only had one boss." That was a joke, guys, in my opinion. That was a little slight, like, all right, I'm only going to ever have one boss. You know what I mean? And I like that. Lurie loves him. He could do anything for the Eagles. He could be the fucking water boy for the fucking Eagles, and he would be in the Hall of Fame Eagles because he could literally end up coaching the team as the water boy. Like, he has that kind of an impact on anything that he does. Anything that he touches, it turns to gold is what I'm trying to say. So all in all, I'm sure that he'll be back even as maybe the CHO, not chief hoss officer like Matt and I were talking about earlier, but that maybe the chief hype man officer, because that's the one thing about those old dogs that you really got to pay some tribute to. Those old guys, Dake, you guys get excited. You guys know how to get down, and you need some of that on this team.
BG coming back for another season.
He's coming back, baby. BG.
I don't know, like that kind of like it's kind of like what you just said about a generation ending. Like Cox, they'd announced that he may be coming out a few months from now, and then you get slapped with that, and then bam, BG's back. I'm like, well, hold up now. Like, can we just end this waterfall and start a new bridge or something? You know what I mean? Like, I can't. So now he's gonna leave next year. Then we're gonna be in the same boat.
You go from crying to cracking open a celebration beer, right?
The same boat.
Yeah. No.
Talk about whiplash.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, that's great news that he's back for another season. But like you said, Dick, like next season, this time next year, like we're gonna get hit in the face. Oh yeah, BG's retired. Well, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna start crying again. Like I said, like
emotional these days.
Exactly. These people that are now kind of their last leg of their seasons. We grew up watching, and seeing them retire, it just like throws you in for a whirlwind. And it's like, I don't want this to happen. Like, it sucks because it's not going to be the same Eagles like that I grew up with. So that's going to be whenever that happens, a huge transition for for me personally.
And I have a hot take for you guys, and you guys aren't gonna like it. And it's nothing.
Hey, it's not the hot takes section.
No. This is just a medium take. Then, sorry, a lukewarm take. I'll say. Hot takes are coming soon. Stay tuned. But my lukewarm take for you guys is I like, and it's nothing against Jason Kelce. I actually like Brandon Graham better than Jason Kelce, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It's not like like you're better than the other one. It's just I in fact love Brandon Graham's personality. He's been one of my favorite players to watch. He kind of also, like Jason Kelce, when he first started out, was up and down, had a couple good years, and then everybody wanted him to leave. But I love. Thank you, Havens. What's going on, my man? I love Brandon Graham. I met him before, so I might be biased, but when you met him, he's so nice. He's so down to earth. Like, he shook my hand. He had the softest hands ever. It was so weird. You would have thought like he would have had like the most rough hands ever. It was like touching a baby. And I'm like, dapping him up.
All right. Slow down, buddy.
Lukewarm. Was his hand lukewarm too?
But in all seriousness, super nice guy. Really cool, really down to earth. You know, you meet some people and they're in a rush, and he like took all the time in the world to seriously say, hey, what's going on? What are you excited for this season? He asked me. I'm like, I'm excited to see y'all go to the Super Bowl. I'm like in the middle of Chicky and Pete's, and like I'm screaming my ass off. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, man, we got some work to do. You know how it is. He's like, we're gonna get it done though. And he literally like said it like that, and he matched my energy. And that was like when I was like, okay, you're made for this city. And players like Jason Kelce and like Brandon Graham, I really hope that them being from Michigan, Ohio, that they don't go home when they retire. You know what I mean? Like guys like this, I want to be around forever because they're the kind of guys that can make a living doing that, number one. But number two, like it's amazing for the community. Like when a little kid gets to meet Brandon Graham, or when somebody even like me or the Dake, you know what I mean, an old guy gets to meet Brandon Graham, it's like an awesome moment to be able to meet the guy that took the ball out of Tom Brady's hands.
Dake's like,
with his soft hands, I'll say.
Drafted. I remember when you got drafted.
Oh, shit.
Dake's there with his fucking cane, fucking geezer.
Did anybody cry when Brandon Graham announced that he was coming back?
F-bombs.
No, my phone was off, so I turned on my phone to like 75 text messages from you guys.
Dake's bringing in all the viewers right now, Dake. We're going to have to get you back on this show if you're bringing in like all these people. Andrea's backing you up. I love it.
But we got to talk about this. I want to bring up something about the Eagles real quick, though, because everybody's complaining about Bradbury. And I think Bradbury got the raw end of the stick because of the coaching he had around him. Like, Maddox was released today, and everybody's like, why wasn't Bradbury? I'm happy Maddox is gone. He's been broke every season he's been with the team. Like, bye. Bradbury just needs a better coach, a better leader, and I think Bradbury will step up next season. Like,
I have a question for you, Dake. Do you guys think that Bradbury could play safety at all? Anyone?
I can't answer that question. Depends on what happens in training camp.
I think you have to go after Poyer.
What the hell does that mean? Yes or no?
Yeah, if he has the right coach, they're superstars or professional athletes.
Today, if you could keep him at corner or safety, this is a no-brainer for me. Wouldn't you obviously switch his position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you? I'm asking you. I would in a heartbeat.
I think we have a good coach for defense coming in. I think this isn't definitely not his first rodeo. Dude has a resume. Eagles haven't had a decent coach on defense since the legendary Johnson. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Think about it. We even had his protege in there. He was
what's his name? What's the guy who won the Super Bowl for us? He was a very good defensive.
He was a good coach, but he wasn't. We weren't the bad boys in the locker room back then. Like back in the day with Dawkins and all that. My boy Jeremiah Trotter.
I don't know. That 2017 defense put up like that defensive line. They beat Tom Brady at the peak.
We weren't feared. The Eagles, we were the underdogs. Back there in Johnson days, we were feared on defense. We haven't been feared on defense since he died from cancer. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, like Slick Boy said, there's a statistic that Bradbury has a great year every other year. Check the numbers. So, hey, maybe.
Hey, so I might be onto something.
Yeah, they might be onto something. But, I mean.
Slick Boy's a Mount Aviat guy. So, shout out to MAA too, Jack. I think he's a Mount Aviat guy.
Oh, go Knights.
Go Knights.
Go Knights.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
That was like our middle school, Dake, and it's like a very small school. So for us to actually have like
small
a follower
school. I
from
grew up
there,
in
it's pretty
Amish
cool.
paradise. We're talking about small middle school.
No, it's not Amish. It's an amazing Catholic school. Check it out if you can.
Catholic
It's very
school.
small,
Oh, here we
hopefully
go. That's a
growing
whole
soon.
new
But this kid went there, and it's an amazing place to go. I'll send my kids there, and Jack will do the same. So stay tuned. As long as they. Oh, here we go.
No,
Dennis!
I just don't
He's
agree
always
with that
starting this with
statement.
him.
What do you say? Look down.
Blankenship
He has
is a
jersey
good
that he bought
safety.
that says that.
Yeah.
Blankenship is a good safety.
You
I
just
agree
graduated
with
last
that.
year. What?
He's saying that he graduated from our middle school. I have a question for you
You
guys
graduated from middle
too.
school?
Dake, this will be a topic that I want you to kind of. Is it time for Haas's hot takes yet, Matt? Am I tripping up or?
I don't know.
You ready for it? We might as well knock it out.
I'm ready for it. I'm
ready for some hot takes. That lukewarm take kind of sucked.
Yeah, you kind of.
Saddle on up for Haas's Hot Takes, brought to you by Sharps, where you can see and tell your friends' hottest bets.
Fucking love that. So thank you, the Sharps, for sponsoring this beautiful segment that we have, Haas's Hot Takes. If you guys could go over, download Sharps, use our promo code 302D866, and go tail and track your friends' hottest bets. My hot take for this week is Jason Kelce is the greatest Philadelphia athlete of all time. Kind of going along with our theme.
I would
Jason
say no.
Kelce.
I would say no.
Who's better?
What do you? Okay, so let me rephrase this. What do you mean by best Philly athlete?
I'm talking on and off the field, contribution to the city.
Okay.
Like if they were to build a statue of one person of all time in all Philly sports, it would be like you know what I mean? Like everything encompassed.
Yes.
Not like, he has X amount of championships, like fucking Junior with the stats. No, like
then off
who
of
is
that,
the guy?
then I would say yes. He's good on and off the field. He does a lot for the city. He is Philly. I would say Zach Ertz. I love Zach Ertz, but he's going to the Commanders.
Oh,
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about that, but I would agree with that he is the greatest Philadelphia athlete of all time for what he does on and off the field.
Can I just
Dake's
say it's really
shaking
hard
his
to
head.
pick one?
Who'd you say?
You said
It's hard
to pick
athlete.
one.
That's a broad spectrum. Like you got to be careful what you use. Of all time,
I'm saying of all time, yes. Who would you put ahead? Who would you?
For 22 years? How the heck you can say of all time?
Because I'm looking at contribution to the city. I'm looking about how this city would die for that man.
Well, he's already said he's not going anywhere, so he's not going back to Ohio. He even said that on his podcast.
Yeah, he's staying in
Philly.
Philly. Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of these other athletes, they will go home. They will go back to where they came from.
Brian Dawkins didn't at first.
But he's back now.
Westbrook didn't.
But what also
Jeremiah
have they
Trotter
done?
didn't, and we're looking at his son to get drafted.
But what else have they done that would warrant them to be like, oh, like, I would die for you? Did you cry when Brian Westbrook retired?
We're not talking.
Did you cry when Jeremiah Trotter retired?
Did you cry when Brian Westbrook retired, Dave?
No, I didn't cry. I told you
Why
why
are you saying I'm not talking about that?
That Super Bowl run last year. Remember that? The whole podcast, paying attention to him. Then he did that that documentary. All that within the last 12 months, and then what happened in the Super Bowl, and the way he cried and lost the season, all that contributed to why I was upset. It was just a lot going on. It's like he went from an average center that only we knew about to now the entire universe knew about. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I also just think that like his passion for Philadelphia, of the city itself, and his passion for the game of football is kind of unmatched, in my opinion, compared to the other athletes that we've had. And that's why I say that he's the greatest, because he fully bought into Philadelphia and he fully bought into the game of football.
Now, are we saying retired?
I'm saying
because
present.
Because Bryce
retired.
Harper is also there. That's also
getting
kind
there.
of.
I think he's getting there.
Getting there. I thought about Bryce, but Bryce, even though we have the moments with Bryce, we don't have the ring yet. That's the thing.
And he wasn't drafted as a Philly.
No.
He came to Philly for the money. So
no, he came here for blah 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 blah. Yeah.
But he came here for the money.
Well, now what about his? Did he get that extension? I forgot to listen
No,
about that
not yet.
first baseman thing.
Not yet.
What do y'all think about that? Talk about going left field from right field.
We're on Haas's hot takes, so shut up, please. But yeah, Ash, I don't think I've heard you say very much yet. So what do you think?
It's really hard to pick just one. Honestly, it's either Jason Kelce. I think off the field, for me, if you take today, literally today out of the equation, it'd be Zack Wheeler. Just the fact that him and his wife still do so much for the city of Philadelphia now that they are apparently going to Washington. He is definitely up there for me. I've always been a huge fan of his personally and just how he handled the whole mess that was him leaving Philly. But however, Jason is the king of Philadelphia. His wife is princess. There's no question in that. They not only has he embraced what Philadelphia is, but his whole family has. I adore following Kylie on Instagram just to see all of the pictures of their girls doing football related things. And I don't know if you saw the video of, it was Bennett earlier this week. Or maybe it was Wyatt spiking the football in their living room. And as she's, in her Eagles jersey, and like, that is the type of people that we want to not only draft, but to keep in our city long after they retire.
And I'll say this and leave off with this on this segment. There's a lot. This is a great question because it's going to come up. I think Kelce's a fair answer. I think it's between Kelce because Philadelphia's a football city, right? But you're also looking at, athletes and greatness too. So I think it's between Kelce just because you got to nominate an Eagle. And if you're going to pick an Eagle, I think it's going to be Kelce at this point, right? It's got to be. But if you're looking at some other sports, just to shout out some names, I looked up a list of some notable ones. Iverson's an interesting one. He's getting a statue, though.
And he just got a street in Newport News named after him.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Mike Schmidt, I think, or Wilt Chamberlain, though, looking at this list, are probably my two notable options. And you know what I find hilarious on there? Shout out to Matt's boy. We're actually going to try to get him on the podcast. That is amazing to see freaking Philadelphia legend Bernard Hopkins on this list, too, with some, like, real Philadelphia greats, real recognized, real. You see Jason Kelce there, Zack Wheeler here already up here. That's interesting. Aaron Nola, too. But Randall Cunningham, Ron Jaworski are great answers. I have no clue how the hell Marvin Harrison is on this list. That makes no sense whatsoever. But gotta love it. Thanks, Google. But, could you some of this list, I think it's obviously got to be, in my opinion, if I had to pick one guy, I would actually say it would be Mike Schmidt. Because, he has the championship. Yeah. He has, the accolades. I think, for me, if I had to pick one and, send him to the ballot, it'd probably be Schmidt. With a Kelce close second.
Would you guys, I saw Kobe Bryant on there, too. Would you consider Kobe Bryant as a Philadelphia athlete, even though he didn't play in Philly?
No.
In a way, yeah. Because hear me out. High school basketball is bigger in Philadelphia than you guys think. Living in Philadelphia for 4 years, I know that. I didn't go to any high school basketball games, but KJ goes to a bunch of them. And being around the West Philadelphia area where Lower Marion's at, high school basketball, I think when I read online, some games in high school would sell an atrocious amount of tickets. I don't want to get the number wrong, but it shocked me. I remember when I saw it, it was upwards in the thousands. So Dan Matranga in here actually showing up. What's up, Dan? But I think it's fair to say that Kobe is a Philly athlete because he played high school ball here. So if you're talking to just athlete, an athlete is technically a person that plays a sport in Philadelphia. So technically, and he did it at a high level. You guys keep in mind, Kobe didn't play in college, right? He got drafted straight out of high school. So I would consider him a Philly athlete, but maybe not the GOAT, you know what I mean? Or even in the top, all these other guys, I think obviously have more accolades over him. A really good question, though.
What about Dawkins? No one said anything about Brian Dawkins, and he even got a Super Bowl ring because he had affiliation with the Eagles.
Dawkins, and he's still doing a shit ton for the city too. So
yeah, Dawkins has been around for a long time. I cried when he went to Denver. I was mad as heck that day.
Well, that's actually a perfect bridge into our next topic, Bake. Thanks for unpurposely doing that. I don't even know how, if you're know how on you are tonight, you're money and you don't even know it. Shout out to my old teacher, Mr. McGowan, it used to say. But check this out, Dake. Do you think, we've been talking about it all week, Jason Kelce obviously would be a great nomination for a next statue, but we never built a statue of Brian Dawkins. So do you think if you had to pick one out of these two guys, who would you pick?
Well, because of the situation we're in right now and what has happened in the past 48 hours, of course, Jason Kelce. But if we're talking about long-term childhood growing up, moving from Washington, D.C. to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and changing, I've been watching Brian Dawkins since he came to the Eagles. So if I'm talking about historic value to me growing up, it's Brian Dawkins, of course. But I think both at the end of the day. But Brian Dawkins, by far, because how I was raised. But they're both. We need multiple. We can get rid of the Flyers, Broad Street Bullies, get rid of all that garbage, and put both the statues right there.
I think the Eagles have a really cool opportunity to do something here. They have that Philly special statue. I think they could start kind of like a Legends Walk or something like that, and just have, of who gets their jersey number retired, I think deserves a statue, and that'd be really, really cool. Kind of like a walk to the stadium that has all of these legend statues leading up right to the stadium. I think that'd be really, really neat. Yeah, I do think that all legends of the Eagles deserve a statue. Legends as like Jeremiah Trotter, Brian Dawkins, Cunningham, Jason Kelce,
Jaws.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it'd be really cool if they did something like that.
Yeah.
Jack, do you have any feelings about it?
I mean, both. I mean, they both were great athletes for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they both, did a lot for this city. So yeah, why not both? I mean, like Haas said, like it'd be nice to have like a walkway of all the legends in the past to the stadium, something like that, because there's a lot of legends that people, like Chuck Benderek. Is there a statue of him?
Wow.
Nope.
So I feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like everyone deserves one who is a legend or things like that.
I think it's a fair question. And shout out to my cousin AJ Holland, believe it or not. He's the one who gave me the idea for this topic. He texted me because everybody's saying it. McNabb does not get one. No, sorry. Oh my God, Dick. I would just say the biggest thing with McNabb for me is I just feel like he didn't do as much off the field as Dawkins or Kelce. Like when you think about those guys, they're still doing stuff. And not that McNabb isn't. I just think it's fair to say not to the same extent. And maybe he doesn't want that in his personal life, and that's fine. But when you think about these guys, like these guys are going to be doing this shit until they die. There's no doubt in my mind. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of people that they are. They're Philadelphia legends for life. I'm all for the idea, too, that Matt had. Eagles, hire this man. Call this man. This man just gave you a great marketing idea. Like if you did it like when those steps you go up right after you pay your ticket and like they all had like a different pose, kind of like on this graphic, maybe Kelce's sitting in the locker room, like taping his leg up or something. You got, Dawkins like absolutely crushing something with his like shoulders and helmet, just laying into somebody. I would love it. And I think it would just feel a certain way of like Joey Haven, shout out to Haven, said, a Mount Rushmore in a way of Eagles legends, just getting you extra juice. Like there's something about seeing a number and a banner, and then there's something about seeing like a statue and a moment and seeing that player forever cemented in their persona. You know what I mean? So I would love to see the Eagles do that.
The Phillies have their statues scattered throughout the parking lot.
Yeah, and I love it. They're all great too.
Like the painting you have that I guess is in the studio with all of like the Eagles like kind of around like from beginning to end. Do some kind of like memorial, like that. Paint that somewhere because and just fill it in. Like okay, these are all the legends in Philly. Like do something like that.
And shout out to Jordan Spector Art. If you guys don't know Jordan, he's a great dude. Shout out to him. I just want to give him his props and his love. But he's actually the one that put together this art. So if you guys haven't, check him out. But as you can see, something like this would be so cool, Jack. I love that idea. Yeah. That would just get everybody, including myself, like juice. Could you imagine being like Dalton, like 2 vodka cranberries deep, going up to the stadium, seeing all the statues. I mean, I would be the loudest person in the building at like 115 pounds. No doubt in my mind.
Were you there when we burnt the Giants jersey with the Eagles team with 0 rings?
When the hell was that? No, tell me this story
The
real
season
quick.
opener against the Falcons, the game after we won the Super Bowl. We burned that jersey.
No, I was not there then. That's amazing. Who were we playing? The Vikings, probably?
No, the Falcons.
No, Falcons.
Yeah, I have a photo. There was a background on Facebook taken that day. I took the photo of them being burned. It was perfect. I sent it to E-Rock, and it was at the 4th and John show. Their background photo of that jersey for like months was the one I took.
Isn't that the game we lost to Julio on that horrible last
we won.
play?
They won that game. They won
Oh,
that
they
game.
did?
They win the game. Yeah, we won. It was raining. It was delayed for hours. I started getting heartburn. Thought I was going to die because I started drinking at like 10 a.m. And no one had Tums. I asked every old lady in the stadium for Tums. It looked like I was a weirdo.
See that right now, you walking around the stadium. Hey, you got Tums?
No,
Hawaii.
it
Get away from me. I got a hot dog, though.
We barely won that game, but they won. I remember 95 freaking Uber ride home.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I had to call
You took an Uber all the way back to Virginia?
No, Jersey. Dirty Jersey.
Oh, my God.
They won that game. They barely won that game, but they won.
Hey, that's sometimes what gets it done, bro. Like I was talking to somebody today, I said C's get degrees. So whatever you got to do to get the job done, a win's a win in the NFL. But Dake, I want to thank you for joining us, man, tonight. We're going to get you back on here more often for sure. That was a ton of fun tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Have a good one, Dake.
God bless.
Thank you, bro. See you soon. And if you guys don't follow Dake on TikTok, the Dake56 or Big Dake 56, he has a lot of TikTok names. We love to support him, though. He's an amazing guy, Uncle Dake, as we call him. And like I said, give him a follow. And I think we're going to be trying to meet up with him soon, too. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a real hoot. But moving along now to our next topic, John Runyon, a Runyon reunion. His son right now is potentially up, John Runyon Jr., for, I guess, a right guard spot, it looks like, which I think that the Eagles could use because Landon Dickerson's a left guard, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so they could use a right guard. I really would love this signing. He balled out for the Packers. He had a really good career, and I think his family still lives in the area. If not, I think that they would be very psyched to come back to the area. And even though I think that number 69 is taken, I think he would look pretty good in another number. He would look very good in green. I wanted to make a 69 joke there because Landon Dickerson obviously took the number and John Runyon had it before, but bring him back. I think that this kid can play. I think that he's got a lot of heart. And growing up an Eagles fan, like just imagining the little bit that I, know about the game of football, which isn't a lot, and the little bit that I know about being an Eagles fan, which isn't a lot. I'm kidding. Moreover, thinking about being able to grow up and play for your own team, that would be freaking sick. So this guy's got to be psyched at the thought of this. I mean, this is exciting for him, right?
Yeah, I think it could be a good signing. It just kind of depends on how exactly the deal itself plays out. I think also there are just some other facts to consider with who we're going to be re-signing in free agency and all that jazz, which starts, I believe, a week from today. So things are going to be happening here pretty quickly. So I think if the stars were to align, it could be a great signing.
Yeah, I think it would be too. I mean, we still don't know who's going to be the center. It could be Herbig. It could be Jurgensen. Like, we don't really know. I know Cam Jurgensen is like the center. That's what he was in college. So it's kind of a big question mark on the offensive line for the time being. So I think it'd be a great signing for that reunion to come back to Philly for sure.
Yeah, I think Cam Jurgensen will probably take over. Remember Jason Kelce was the one that told the Eagles to draft him. And so I think, Cam Jurgensen having that experience the past 2 seasons to work beside, Jason, and also being able to work with Jeff Stoutland, I think is going to be huge for him. And Jason Kelce said on his podcast that he's going to be back in the building, helping this team out as much as he possibly can. And so I think they're going to be all right there. I really think that it's going to be okay. It'll be interesting. They definitely need to add some depth to that offensive line, though, now that Jason Kelce's leaving. Lane Johnson only has a couple more years. So the line is going to start depleting pretty soon here, and I think, it never hurts to have some backup.
Hell yeah. Yeah, hopefully they start to build it, because you're right. Malata is going to be really the only guy that you have that's going to be a pro baller in a couple years. So you got to start to, Dickerson's making his way too, but you got to start to develop these guys. Dickerson has one under his belt, but I'm talking consistent, certified ballers. And I really do think, I'll leave it at this: get your Cam Jurgens jerseys ready, because I think Cam Jurgens, like Matt said, the fact that Kelce told them to draft him, I think, is Kelce saying, okay, this guy is a good replacement for me on and off the field. Kelce has that off the field stuff in mind. Jurgens is a fun player. He really is. So I think we're going to get to know him this year as a person and his personality. I'd love to see John Runyon Jr. come into the mix. Team up with Landon Dickerson, good morning, as he always says. This would be a really, really, really fun group, I think, of guys. And it would be cool to kind of see everybody mesh together, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So stay tuned for that. But we do have actually a little bit of trivia for you guys to end the show, like we said. So I can get a score check for you guys real quick, too. I just have to pull it up on my phone. I'll read it this week. I will get the graphic next week going. But the fans have 2. Matt has 3. Tommy has 3. I have 2. Dalton. Josh has none. Ashley has 4. Sean has none. And Decker has 2. But without further ado, I will hit that intro into Jack's weekly trivia. Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dalton, the mayor of Delaware.
Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship. Like I said, they're sending Dalton to Clearwater to watch the Phillies game. So you want to buy tickets for any Philly sports, use TickPick. Tonight's question we have for you is, what Phillies first baseman had 3 consecutive 20 home run seasons between 97 and 99? Again, what Phillies first baseman had 3 consecutive 20 home run seasons between 97 and 99? A, Kevin Jordan, B, Travis Lee, C, Rico Brogna, or D, Chase Utley? And tonight's answer is C, Rico Brogna. So what that means is Hoff got it correct, Ash got it correct, and Dalt got it wrong. But
did you pick Chase Utley, Dalt?
No, he picked B.
Okay, good.
And also
I
for the
Lee.
fans,
I know that there's a Phillies jersey. I think it's Cliff Lee is the player's name.
he's a
but
pitcher.
I was like, okay, cool. So I got his name right. I knew that there was a
that
Lee
was like in
Phillies
the early
jersey,
2010s. So
God, I was off of my era.
Slick Boy and the fans, he got it correct too. So he was like the first one to answer. So that was awesome. But yeah, that's tonight's trivia. Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship.
And with that, thank you to Jack for always doing a great job with our trivia, and thank you to him for preparing it. I want you guys to also give a big thank you to all these people on the show. They all do a lot to make sure that this show is what it is every week. Ashley, especially on the graphics. Make sure you guys thank her in the comments, our chaos coordinator. And make sure you guys thank Jack for always making sure we have some trivia prepared. Hoss with always the hot takes prepared and always something fun to discuss. These people put a lot of work into this show, guys. So make sure you let them know in the comments that you're thankful for them. Make sure to give us a heart if you're watching on Facebook. And like our page, 302 Birds Podcast. So this doesn't have to be the last time that we hang out with you. We could do this every Wednesday night. You know what I mean? This doesn't have to be the last time we do this. So come on back. Come on, hang out. It was a great show tonight. A great time hanging out with you guys. Next week, I'll be how does it go? Sand in the toes, ass in the sand. Jack, how does the song go?
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Sing it for me. You guys
ass
sing it.
in this.
You got toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in the world with a cold beer in my hand.
Life is good today.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you for that. I got the last part, but that will be me next week, and I'll have all the lyrics right because I'll be like, in that Florida mood. So if you guys are in Clearwater next week, for real, we already have a couple people we're linking up with who listen to the podcast. Shout out to Tony, my RA. We're going to be linking up with him, but it should be a really good trip. Or moreover, if you're along the way on the road trip, me and KJ are taking the route of I-95. So if you want us to stop by, you and grandmama are going to cook us a home cooked meal of freaking porridge or something, or a chicken pot pie. And we're going to stop by and have sweet tea in Georgia. And I'm thinking of all this stuff. If you're a fan and you want to help us out, let us know, because it's going to be a legendary vlog, a legendary time. And the Phillies.
It'll be a lot of fun. I'll be there once they get to Florida.
Ash is going to be there too. Yeah. What are you most looking forward to, Ash? Do you have anything?
I'm really excited for spring training, but it's really just getting to Florida and getting to some much warmer weather that can actually make up its mind, unlike the middle of the Midwest. So,
but yeah, like I said, be sure to thank all these people for what they do. And if you're going to be, in Clearwater next week, let me know in the comments. Give this video a heart, like, subscribe, comment. If you're on Spotify listening, please write us a review. And that is everything that I got for you guys. So, Jack, I will kick it to you to do what you do.
Yeah, I just want to thank my mom, Jason Kelce. You are a legend in my life. I appreciate all you did for me and our fan base. But without further ado, hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.
We love you, Jason.
We love you, Jason.
We love you, Big 6'2". Matt still sucks at goal.